What's going on, y'all? Before we get into it, might as well intro it real quick. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sit Down Sports Edition. You already know what it is, my man Andrew. We're back again. We're going to recap Week 7.
Yep.
And since we're in the front end, I'm going to preference this because people actually see this part. What we're going to do next week, we're not going to go over the Week 8 week. What we're going to do instead, we're going to go over the 32 teams from 32 to 1. And we're going to kind of have that be the episode. And obviously, we'll still do our Week 8 predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Power
rankings.
Exactly right. We want to do a power ranking episode, kind of switch it up a little bit, give you guys something different. And thank you guys so much for the support too, because these videos have actually been getting a good amount of views.
It's been getting progressively better.
Yeah, it's been getting really good. So
share it with your football friends. Put it in the group chat.
Yeah. So thank y'all so much for the support, for real. And as you know, we're gonna jump right in. So Angel, let's dive in, man.
Let's get to it. Giants, Eagles. Eagles took it in a tight one.
Nail biter.
Yeah.
Walk it to him once. He made an appearance. Said bounce it to him once.
That was real tight. Both teams kind of looked how you kind of expect.
Yep.
One team just came out with one extra point. So, I mean, hey, both of these teams at this rate could win this division. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants pulled it out somehow.
I'll tell you what, Daniel Jones is starting to come into his own a little bit.
He gets better and better every single week.
See, that's so cool. That's what you were talking about from week 1 to now. You were saying every week the Giants, hey, listen, if you're a Giants fan, don't necessarily be down and out yet, because like you had said, they're getting better and better every week, and they're starting to string together some drives now. And I think they're starting they had to kind of bounce back from that loss of Saquon there at first. But now that they kind of figured out what their identity is, I think, now they're starting to be able to play to their strengths.
It takes a while.
It's really showing now.
Yeah.
It's really showing.
It takes a while when you lose literally your best player on the team to figure out what you're going to do about it.
Right.
And the Giants, I mean, obviously you don't like 1-6. That's not good. But in the division you're in, you're only a game and a half behind. So
let that sink in.
I know, and that's what you got to say in the locker room. Is you got to say, hey guys, I know we're 1-6. This sucks, but you see the games that we can play. You see the fight we put up against Dallas, and you see the fight we did against the Eagles. We can win this division. It's 100% within reach. We got to just close out those drives where we get real close to the end zone. We've got to put points on the board. And I think they've shown they can do that.
Agreed. I'll tell you what, I think the one player that won't get talked about a lot but had a really big impact was actually Boston Scott. Boston Scott, he only had 12 attempts for 46 yards, but he was averaging on 4 yards per clip, and he had some really big runs there when they needed it on those last 2 drives to come back and win that game. Yep. He had a really big presence, and that last touchdown was to him. He had that sweet receiving touchdown to win the game.
Yeah.
It was money, man. That was money.
Yeah,
and that's a backup on a backup. Yeah. I think that was a 3rd string running back. It wasn't even a 2nd string running back. So that was big. They needed all of that too.
Yeah, for sure. Real good game. I'm interested to see who wins this division, who takes it.
Me as well.
Steelers, Titans. This one, I am so mad.
Game of the week.
I'm so mad at Stephen Gostkowski, bro. I'm sitting there watching the game. I'm like, come on, bro, you gotta hit this. And then he shanks it. I was like, oh no! Yes. I'm gonna get so much crap on the show.
Yes.
And it stinks because, like, if Stephen Gostkowski hits that field goal, you play what all day. Oh, special teams are a part of your team.
Sure.
If special teams doesn't show up, your team wasn't good enough to win. However, if Stephen Gostkowski hits that kick, like he usually will, you gotta like the Titans momentum-wise in overtime.
Absolutely. That whole 4th quarter was theirs.
Right.
Half the 3rd quarter into all of the 4th quarter, they were just building momentum. And by the time that game was getting close to the end, the Steelers couldn't get a stop. They couldn't buy a stop.
I believe Ben had like a 60-something passer rating in that game.
Because he had very untimely interceptions.
It wasn't good.
Very untimely
James
interceptions.
Conner looked great.
He did.
That defense looked great for 3.5 quarters. But then the Titans just started doing what they do best. They started pounding the rock. They started making things happen. I want to say most of Derrick Henry's yards were in that 4th quarter.
Did you see that shovel pass that Roethlisberger had? He scrambled out left out of the pocket and he just right-hand shovel passed it like 10 yards in the air to James Conner. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's nuts. Yeah. But then you have 3 interceptions.
Right. And it's one of those things where it's like, sure, the Steelers won, and obviously you have to put them at the top of any power rankings at this point. We'll see what happens this week. But I don't like how slow the Titans started, but I like how strong they finished.
Definitely.
And this is by no means burying the Titans. They will be back, and they will be fighting for an AFC championship.
Agreed. I think if the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do anything, like you had said, flip it now. I love how strong the Pittsburgh Steelers came out early, but Ben Roethlisberger, like I said earlier, a lot of untimely, turnovers. I mean, no turnovers timely, but a lot of bad turnovers where they really needed to just get the ball in the end zone. You think about it, if they scored one touchdown in all the fourth quarter, really, it would have been a game over.
Sure.
And if I'm correct, I don't think they did that. No, they didn't score in the fourth quarter, period.
Right.
If they had one score, the game was over.
Right.
You got to get the ball in the end zone. You can't go seven points in the first quarter, 17 in the second quarter, and then in the second half you score 3 points total.
Yeah.
That's not gonna hold up.
If I'm a Titans fan, I'm happy with how the defense held up.
Definitely.
You've got to be happy with holding 27 points to a really good offense in the
Absolutely.
Steelers. And 24 points is not ideal, but against a team like the Steelers, where you were this close, really probably about a few feet away from pushing it to overtime, you got to be happy about it.
And you think about the way that the Titans play. They play run-dominant football.
Yeah.
So 24 points a lot of the times. You got to think time of possession.
Sure.
The Titans have a ton of time of possession. 24 points will more times than not win you a lot of the games.
Yeah.
Strictly because they play a certain style of football, right? So yeah, I like the Titans. They're good for the NFL because they switched the mantra of how to win football games. They're a run-dominant team in a pass-dominant NFL.
Yep.
It's refreshing to see because it gives you hope that there is some old school
ground
and pound. I'm gonna jam down your throat, do something about it.
Right.
That's classic.
Yeah, for sure.
That's classic.
Love it. That was a great game to watch too. This one was not.
What did I tell you? I told you.
The ship is sinking. Hop off before you go down with it.
The ship is sinking. Pull up the anchors and jump while you can, because that ship is going down. And what I say, the Cowboys season is over. It's done.
It's
over.
Yes, it's one of those games that when I was watching it, this offensive line went from being one of the best O-lines in the league, put so much money into it, draft picks, all this stuff. That O-line was trash.
It's been all year. I mean,
absolute garbage.
They have 4 Pro Bowlers out right now on the offensive line.
They gave up 6 sacks. 6. Andy Dalton's not the problem.
Nope.
Ben DiNucci will not be your problem.
I don't think he's going to help you too much either, but no, he won't be the problem.
He made a few gorgeous throws.
Yeah, he did.
I'll tell you that much. He looked pretty good. They might have a gem out there. However, I don't care if you got Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. If your offensive line is that bad and your running game is that bad, you're not beating any teams.
I'll say this too. They had under 200 total yards of offense for an entire game.
And that's on the O-line.
They flew from Dallas, Texas to DC to score a field goal.
Yeah.
And I'll say this because we don't really need to talk about this too much. No. Here's the epitome of the Dallas Cowboys. Andy Dalton takes a nasty cheap shot. Mm-hmm. He's knocked unconscious on the ground, no helmet on, and nobody goes and tries to get that linebacker that did that. They just stand around.
No one fought.
Nobody did anything. And that's the epitome of the Dallas Cowboys. Yep. They just don't.
And you don't want to see guys get kicked out or anything like that.
No.
I'm willing to take a 15-yard penalty.
You got to do something. I would have got kicked out for that. Sure. Because it's principle.
Right.
You go to war with your brothers. You're supposed to live and die for the people that stay next to you every single play. And to see that happen, that just tells you everything you need to know about Dallas. They're done. They're done.
Dallas's offensive line gave up 6 sacks and 6 tackles for loss. Those are separate stats. The sack is not the tackle for loss. That's 12 tackles behind the line of scrimmage.
And like you had said, with that offensive line, you can't run the ball. You can't pass the ball. You got to show up that if you have, like I understand, the season's done. But if you want any chance at all, you got to show up that offensive line. You have to. And kudos to the Washington football team.
Took advantage.
Doing what they're supposed to do.
Took advantage.
Go in there, kick some ass, and get the win. Let's keep moving. Let's go. Bills Jets. This is shocking.
I don't want to talk about this one any more than I didn't want to watch it. That was the ugliest game of football I've ever seen in my life.
What's going on with the Bills?
Take a shot. Hold on. Take a shot in the dark, and guess how many yards the Jets had in the second half.
Ooh, probably under 100.
4.
What?
They had 4 yards in the second half.
Offensively?
Offensive yards in the second half. They had 4.
That's got to be the lowest of all. That's got to be like a.
I don't know what
best.
history it broke, but it broke my eyes.
Wow.
4 yards of offense.
And you know, also,
and the Bills' offense was scary bad.
And that's what I was gonna say. You know, why did the Bills look so poor? That's my biggest concern. The Jets, nothing surprised me with the Jets. I expect this out of them, but the Bills, you know, this is supposed to be a walk in the park, and this was a game.
This game for the Bills.
I mean, they were behind.
This is the closest game the Jets had.
Yeah.
However, I will say this game for the Bills will be what the Giants-Rams game was for the Rams.
Think so?
It was a tight game. They came out with a win, but they're going to know that they shouldn't have done that.
Of course.
And they're going to fix it up.
They better.
They
better.
They will not play like this again. Which is why I don't want to dwell on it too much. The Jets are really bad, and they played really bad.
I'll say this too, though. Look back to Tennessee. This is 2 games in a row now.
Yeah.
This is 2 games in a row that Josh Allen has looked pedestrian. And I don't
He
throw
did
that
look
on very lightly. Pedestrian. And listen, if you look pedestrian against the Jets, that's not good.
No.
That's not good. So we'll see what happens next week.
Sure.
I'm not sure who they play. We'll get to that later, of course. But yeah. Josh Allen needs to give us more.
Yeah, they should absolutely fix all of the mistakes that they had against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not concerned if I'm the Bills.
I'm not yet either.
Yeah.
I'm not yet either. I you know, if they play that again the week following, now I'll start to have yellow flags.
Yep.
But until that point, no reason to jump yet.
Panthers Saints. I am going to propose something.
Let's hear it.
Saints won 27-20.
Sure.
Could have went to overtime if it was a yard closer to a field goal attempt.
Right.
Sly tried to break the NFL record. Obviously, might not have the leg for it. At least in a game time situation.
Close.
It was very close. Probably needed about a yard or 2 on it because you're talking about hitting the goalpost.
Right. Yep.
Panthers look like the better football team. Saints showed me exactly why in this game I'm not sold on them.
Yep.
They came away with the dub. Fine. Panthers. Every time I watch the Panthers play on offense, they look way better than the Saints did. Saints looked sloppy.
Yep.
Saints looked scatterbrained, but they have good talent, so they made it work.
And see, that's what saves them. They have a lot of talent, so they can get away with playing like crap.
Right. The Panthers look better to me.
I would agree. And if
the better team did not win this game.
And which is sad. I think the Panthers needed one more big play. Mm-hmm. One more big play to just get him closer, and he would have hit that.
Panthers are more well coached.
Mm-hmm.
They are more well organized.
They're more driven.
They want it more.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the roster that the Saints have.
And keep in mind, this is all without Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still not bad.
If they had Christian McCaffrey,
they would have won.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And you want to know what? This is good for me, because me being kind of a secondary Bucs fan, for obvious reasons.
Sure.
I like seeing New Orleans play like this because, listen, New Orleans plays like this. New Orleans' best game of the season was their first game against the Bucs.
Yeah.
If they play this against the Bucs in week 9, when they play the Buccaneers at their house, they're going to get thrashed. They're going to get thrashed.
And I'm going to make my prediction now. They will get thrashed.
Yeah, I agree.
They will get beat by the Bucs.
I agree.
Because the Bucs have their chemistry now. They are able to do those wrinkles in their offense that they've been wanting to do, they've been trying to do. Gronk's back in the offense.
Yep.
Brady looks like Brady.
Antonio Brown's coming in.
And
that'll be his first game.
And the thing with Antonio Brown is, if he's a factor, great. If he's not a factor,
you're still
who cares?
Right. Yep.
So they got plenty of weapons. I'm down on the Saints still. 4-2 is they're reminding, and I know this is gonna sound weird, they remind me a lot of the Bears. In
a good record.
Good record.
In what way?
Exactly. Let's hop over to Packers Texans. This is about how we thought it would go. Aaron Rodgers is back.
Surgical.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely picking apart the Texans defense.
Surgical.
Deshaun Watson can only do so much.
Right.
I do have a question for the Texans though.
What you got?
At what point do you double team Devontae Adams?
True. I don't know how long you need to wait. The dude went for 13 receptions, 196 yards, and 2 touchdowns on 16 targets.
8 of those receptions and 130 of those yards were in the first half.
Yeah.
Packers are already like, all right, we won. We don't have to pass to you, Devontae, anymore. We're deciding not to pass to you as much. They still got 10. They still got 5 more receptions and 40 more yards. You gotta do something. Mm-hmm. You gotta just say, you're not throwing it to Devontae Adams anymore, so just stop. Because the Packers really don't have another receiver. Right. Allen Lazard's on IR. They have Aaron Jones, I believe.
He was hurt. He was hurt that game.
Okay, he was hurt. So take away their weapon. Make Aaron Rodgers do something else.
Right. Exactly.
And they didn't. They let him do what he wanted.
Yeah. And this is, I heard people talking about this morning in some talk shows. For any good quarterback, if you apply pressure up the middle and you collapse the pocket, you're going to be in trouble. It doesn't matter if you're a mobile quarterback or a non-mobile quarterback. It's much easier to throw in a clean pocket than it is one that's dirty.
Yep. And
the name of the game with this one, in my opinion, was Aaron Rodgers had all day.
Yep.
Just keep track of where J.J. Watt is. Just step in front, let him ride the edge, and then just let it fly. And you're good.
What the Texans should have done to the Packers offense, the Packers offense did to the Texans defense. Yep. They didn't let J.J. Watt be a factor. They said, you can send everyone else you want. You can't send J.J. Watt.
Yeah, he's not going to
get there.
Yep.
And that's good coaching.
Very much so.
Good job on that.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's hop over to Browns-Bengals. You are passionate about this one.
Oh, pissed me off, man.
You were texting me during the game. You were expletive this. I'm so mad. Yeah.
What are your thoughts? It just bothers me. It bothers me for a couple of reasons, and I'm sure you'll bring up some of the points that I'll talk about that don't really bother me that much, but something that I think we need to talk about. But the Bengals, come on, man, just we need one stop. Mm-hmm. Either make a stop on defense or don't take your foot off the gas offensively. Yep. You got to make up your mind. You can't do both. Mm-hmm. And it felt dominant in terms of their performance of the Bengals. It felt like a dominant performance. Yep. And they just let it go. Yep. They let it go. Mm-hmm. Again. Yep. Again, this is not the first time.
Yeah, Colts last week.
They did this a first time against the Browns as well. They lost the Browns 35-30. Yep. Same exact thing. They let them come back at the end. Mm-hmm. You gotta figure out how to close games. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow, I like the way Joe Burrow's playing though. Mm-hmm. He's starting to take less hits, get on the ground. Mm-hmm. I was never worried about his arm talent. He gets the ball where he needs to get it. Yep.
He has a bright future.
Absolutely. And I think that offensive line is starting to understand their strengths and playing to them now instead of trying to be amazing. Just be good enough, right? Good enough. Just keep your quarterback clean and let him go to work. Yep. And he did that. But I got to give some kudos to Baker Mayfield, like you had talked about, right? I said I'm not really up on him yet still.
Sure.
Right? Because he plays the Ravens, they score 6 points. They play the Steelers, they either score 6 points or 3 points, which means those are field goals. You can't score a touchdown against teams that are good.
Right.
You get all these crazy stats against teams that you should.
Sure.
But when it comes time to actually play a good, legitimate team,
that's fair.
You're non-existent.
And even when he beat the Colts, it wasn't a good game.
Right.
He didn't play well.
Nope.
I think Baker's strange. And this is why I don't think he's a franchise quarterback for the Browns. He will have even in the beginning of this game, his first 5 pass attempts, he was 0 for 5 and a pick. That's bad.
And you want to know what? Let me stop just real quick, and then you can continue.
Sure.
Something that's ironic with that whole situation, I just saw it come up on the review. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield goes 0 for 5, throws an INT, and he gets a star wide receiver's ACL torn because he throws a bad ball.
Yep.
That's what I think of Baker Mayfield.
Sure.
That's the epitome of what I think of Baker Mayfield.
Sure.
That's all I need to say. Go ahead.
And then after that, I believe he threw, according to the NFL app, he threw 22 straight completions and 5 touchdown passes.
Impressive.
Did not throw an incompletion.
That's impressive.
I don't care what defense you're throwing against. That's a good salary.
Absolutely right.
But you're right that it's concerning. He can't do it against anybody else. He can't even come close to that.
Not even. He can't even score a touchdown.
Right. Baker's good at beating the Bengals.
Yeah.
He always beats the Bengals. I don't think he's lost to the Bengals in his career. And Joe Burrow put up a fight. I think Joe Burrow he will supersede Baker Mayfield.
I would completely agree.
And Baker will be the worst quarterback in that division by next year.
Yep.
And it's pretty tight right now as it is. Both defenses played like trash. Yeah. And it was a nice, fun shootout to watch.
It was grimy, it was gritty. You know, it was down to the wire. And I'll say this, Joe Burrow went 35 for 47, 406 yards, 3 TDs, and 1 INT.
Gorgeous.
He had 2 less touchdowns and more yards with less talent.
Gorgeous touchdown.
Than Baker Mayfield did.
Yep.
In all phases, too. He has a worse defense, a worse offense, a worse offensive line, and worse receivers. And he put up more yards and 2 less touchdowns.
And the Bengals were missing Joe Mixon as well.
Right.
He was out.
Yep.
If they had Joe Mixon, you're thinking about maybe a different football game.
Sure.
But Burrow did have to throw a lot because you got Giovanni Bernard back there. Yep. He's not a 3-down back.
Not like what he used to be.
No.
So he used to be nasty.
He was.
For a while. He was gross.
That was really fun game to watch. Browns need to show more consistency, and the Bengals need to seal the deal.
Yeah, and I have a question for you real quick.
Sure.
Are the Browns better without Odell Beckham Jr.?
The only reason I would say they are is because they're more focused. Do you know what I mean? Not in the sense of attention span, but in a sense of Jarvis is your number 1, no question. You got 3 good tight ends.
Right.
2 of them were out this game.
It's like that whole concept with Tom Brady in a sense down in Tampa, right? You have so much weapons, you were trying to facilitate everybody, instead of having a pecking order and knowing everybody's role.
And then right now you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb will come back at some point within the next 2-3 weeks.
And he'll be good.
Like will be good. Do I think they're better? No. Do I think it might have a better impact? Sure.
Agreed.
It depends.
100% agree. Yep. I'm with you.
Let's hop over to Lions-Falcons. Oh my God. Todd Gurley. What are you doing?
And actually, before we get into it, I actually will defend him in a sense. Because if you look at it, when he broke that tackle, he had a ton of momentum. And the dude, the way he let the tackle go.
But stop trying to break tackle. Go down.
I would agree with that. That's true. That's true. And that's where I have a problem, right?
Right.
But I like the fact that he at least had the wherewithal to try.
Yeah.
Right? So in that sense, but again, it's only, the close only counts on horseshoes and hand grenades, so.
As a Falcons fan, or as someone who's a part of the Falcons organization, trying ain't good enough, bro.
No.
You gotta know the situation, and he knew it too. He was like, he was just too slow on the draw. He was playing, he was bumbling, bam, bam. He's like, I broke it. Oh no, I broke a tackle. And then all of a sudden, I see a Lions player go, touchdown! Yeah. Like he was cheering for the touchdown.
I don't think he thought that cornerback was gonna let go.
No, he didn't.
Because, like I said, he really didn't break it per se. But the cornerback just let go.
And that's good play on the defense.
Yeah, it's very smart.
And let's not sell it short. Matt Stafford drove down the field, scored a touchdown. Wait for it.
Ice cold.
Scored a touchdown. On the celebration for the touchdown, 15-yard penalty pushes the extra point kick back 15 yard. Matt Prater nails it.
Yeah.
That's why the Falcons fired Dan Quinn. Dumb decisions, blowing leads. You had the game in your hands. You had a win.
And I'll say this, even though it was a mess up and it was a blown play, it was the right kind of blown play. It wasn't for a lack of effort. It wasn't for a lack of trying or want to win. It was just a quick lapse in mental awareness that ended up costing the game.
But if you think about it, the same lack of mental awareness is what lost them the game against Dallas.
Sure, but that was way more. That was so much more egregious, though. That was so much more, because that was just but that just seemed like I don't care. This was I care too much.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I see what you mean, and of course it's not a reflection of character, but in a sense it is a reflection of
discipline.
Discipline, right?
Sure, agree.
You got to be better than that.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I don't think any of these teams are really worth talking about too much.
Nah.
The Lions looking like maybe a wild card team.
Possibly, they might sneak in
if they play well.
Yeah.
Bucks, Raiders. The Buccaneers
stomped them.
have finally come into their own.
I'm so excited.
It took them a little longer than I thought it would, but they've finally gotten to it, gotten what they've, like I was saying before the show started, they can do those wrinkles in their offense that they've been wanting to do. They've been able to let Tom Brady be Tom Brady.
Right.
Gronk looks like Gronk again because now he's back. I heard Mark Schlereth, I believe it was, say it. You can't come back into the NFL after taking a full year off and just think you're going to be the guy again.
It takes weeks.
And it took him. We're in week 7.
It took him 6
weeks.
weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's back in football shape. He's making plays. He's doing his thing. Is he still going to be Gronk of old?
We'll see.
I don't think so.
I think if they use him like they've been using him.
Correct. I think you're going to see a different Gronk who's relying more on his hands and his chemistry with Brady than he will on his size.
Yep.
He's going to rely on his placement in the field. Brady knows exactly where Gronk's going to be, so he knows where he's got to hit it.
Yeah.
And that's probably what Brady's been missing,
and they're
starting to get it.
And that's what I'm excited for as well, because you're starting to see that with people like Chris Godwin, right? Yep. He's able to say, Chris Godwin, when you go across the middle, I'm throwing you a low ball at the shins. Go down there, get it, and stay down. I don't want you to get killed, right? Scotty Miller, I'm gonna put this ball right on your left shoulder pad, right towards the sideline. Get your hands there and be ready for it. I'm gonna put it right down the chimney to you, right? And that's cool because now you're starting to see that chemistry. You know, they're starting to understand the mastermind at work that is Tom Brady. And I think the one thing that's underrated, we don't even talk about that defense because that defense is dumb. That's the best defense in the league, in my opinion.
Okay.
In my opinion, that's the best defense in the league in totality.
Sure.
From top to bottom.
From top to bottom, yeah.
No question, in my opinion.
Most well-rounded,
I would agree. But that offensive line for the Buccaneers is good.
Yep.
Damn good. Tom Brady barely got touched.
They got a young rookie right tackle or left tackle?
Left.
Left tackle. Rookie left tackle.
Yeah.
Blocking Tom Brady. No pressure, bud. He's showing up though.
Yeah. And then what I'm excited for is they came out here and they didn't give the Vegas Raiders a single shred of hope that they had a chance.
No, and that's
stepped on from start.
And that's why I don't fault the Raiders too much. They just ran into a chemistry moving Tom Brady football team. When they played so poorly against the Bears, so poorly, Brady was mad, he's angry, too many penalties, this, that, and that. They've had 4 penalties since that game. Right. Total.
And you want to know what's funny too is he was getting chastised for that too. Oh, why does he have the right to yell at his players when he's thrown 2 pick sixes? I was like, listen, do you see his body of work and what he's done on the field?
And see, here's the difference, and that's the difference between football cultures. I was listening to Colin Cowherd. He harps on this a lot. The culture in Tampa is relaxed. They're loose. They're not winners. But you go to Boston, every team in that professional sports setting, they're winners.
Yep.
Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, all winners. And they play to win every single, no relaxed. You don't celebrate until you get the dub or until you make that play.
Yep.
And that's what Tom Brady brought to Tampa. And Tampa went, oh, Tom Brady's yelling at us. He's being so mean.
It's so soft.
It's like, get over it, bro. You want to win the football game or not?
Right. Yep.
So he got into him, and I guess Bruce Arians said, all right, go ahead. Do your thing.
Which is good, because he needs to. Bruce Arians, get off your ego ship and just let that man run his show over there, because he's trying to make all these snarkle comments about, oh, Tom Brady didn't bring in AB, I did. That's not true. Tom Brady is 100% the main factor Antonio Brown went to
AB ain't there for you, Bruce.
No, he's not there for you. He's there for Tom Brady and that offense. So just keep your mouth shut and stop trying to alienate your players, especially your best player.
Yeah, and
don't.
I was watching Peyton Manning, who was talking about what Tom Brady was probably thinking about going through this game. There was I believe it was a deep route to the left side of the end zone to Gronk on that touchdown.
Yeah.
Peyton said,
nasty.
Brady probably just got with Gronk and said, you're running this route, this is what I'm throwing. I'm not telling anybody else but you. That might be what happened. Because Bruce Arians is a stickler and wants to call his plays and wants his thing to do, and Brady's Brady. So, in terms of this game, they just had
they had their way.
This was peak Tampa. If they can play like this when it matters, see you at home in the Super Bowl.
Yep, and I'll say this. Tom Brady, 33 for 45, 369 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I think he had a pass rating of 112. If he can keep stringing together games like that, he's in MVP conversation, in my opinion.
That's a Brady game.
If he can continue to string games together like that and start winning big,
sure,
and asserting his dominance like he should be doing,
sure,
he's going to be an MVP conversation.
I believe it.
Especially with all that talent.
Yep. Chargers, Jaguars. Justin Herbert finally did it, my boy.
Congratulations, baby. Congratulations, big man.
He's
good.
He's stunning.
He's good.
I believe he's the first quarterback. Him and Patrick Mahomes are the only quarterbacks in NFL history to throw for 250 yards plus in their first 5 games.
Yeah. Yep.
He's so good. I don't care if the Chargers make the playoffs. I don't care if they lose every single other game for the rest of the year. Justin Herbert's your guy, and he looks awesome. And I am excited about the future of. Actually, I'm kind of mad because they're in our division as a Broncos fan. But I'm excited to just watch him play football. I believe they have the Broncos next week.
I think so.
I honestly think he might torch us.
He might.
I wouldn't be too upset about it either because Justin Herbert He's along the lines of Russell Wilson.
He's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very creative.
When you see him throw a deep ball, usually when people think of deep balls, on any other quarterback, they're thinking it's a 50-50 ball. Receiver might come down with it, might not, incomplete, might be an interception, who knows, not sure. When Russell Wilson or Justin Herbert throw a deep ball, oh, well, he must have saw something. It's a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, there was a play that I saw. It was, and this is what really made me kind of appreciate Justin Herbert in the moment. Halfway through the first quarter, very risky throw to Keenan Allen going down the left sideline. Yeah. But he had about 7 to 8 yards of space there in between the sideline and him. He throws a back shoulder ball with the cornerback right in Keenan Allen's face. That's a ballsy throw.
Yeah.
That's a really ballsy, because you don't have the sideline to help you there. So that has to be a perfect ball. That could be a pick.
Yeah.
And he threw it perfectly.
Yeah.
He threw it perfectly, and I was like, damn. That's a beautiful play. That's a beautiful play.
Jaguars, I still feel so bad for Gardner Minshew.
They have the heart, man. They really do. They have the heart.
He is pushing so hard. Again, you put Gardner Minshew on. Honestly, you put him on the Bears. You put him on the Browns. You make those teams better. And it stinks that he's stuck on a team like the Jaguars with that roster. You could still put up 29 points, fight, but then lose 39-29. That defense is nowhere to be found.
Rough.
And I feel bad for him.
Yeah, from Gardner Minshew, I need more completions and I need more attempts as well throwing the ball.
Yeah.
He only went 14 for 27 with 173 yards and 2 TDs. It's good. It's enough.
It could be a time of possession.
Sure. Very true. Very true. Because I'll say this: the Chargers had the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Had the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I need more. I need more attempts for him.
Sure.
I need their head coach to give him more freedom to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Because he can. He can throw the football. I would suspect that he should have something similar to Justin Herbert in terms of attempts.
Sure.
Obviously, maybe not 43 like Herbert did, but somewhere in the 30 range.
Yeah.
Because that could open up that offense.
Right.
Because they don't have a dominant run game.
No, they
don't.
So
what's the other option?
And neither do the Chargers. They don't have Austin Eckler.
And that's a perfect example. Justin Herbert, 27 for 43, 347 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
It's a difference of attempts. The more attempts you have, the higher probability you get more yards, you get touchdowns.
And I'll leave it here. But the most exciting thing about Justin Herbert is he's already so good, and he's getting better every single week. It's awesome to watch. I love it.
Very much so. Yes.
Let's hop over to Chiefs Broncos.
Ouch.
I really don't got much to say here.
Yeah, I don't either.
The only notable thing is Philip Lindsay was having a good game. Got a concussion.
That's
missed the second half. Wasn't able to play the rest of the second half. That's unfortunate because he's probably our best player on offense right now.
Yep, and he's gone for probably 2 weeks. So
Drew Lock does not look good.
No. He looks scared back there, to be honest with you.
He's making poor decisions.
Very.
He is given the time in the pocket.
Why is he not setting his feet?
I would venture to guess on more than 50% of his passes, he's rolling out for no reason.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Why is he not setting his feet and driving the ball?
Right. Those were some bad habits that happened in some of the games last year. that he needs to break if he wants to be a successful quarterback. Chiefs did Chief things.
Yeah.
Defense did defense things. The Broncos just, they didn't look like they had it. They had it for the first 2 quarters. It was a little close, and then the Chiefs just ran.
I'll say this. You were just outgunned, outmanned.
In every aspect, yeah.
Out-talented in every phase of the game. And this is exactly what was supposed to happen.
Right.
And then we'll transition over to Patriots San Francisco.
Which,
another stomping.
yeah, that was bad.
And I'll say the same exact thing. Outgunned, outmanned, out-talented in all phases of the game.
And just like we said with the Giants, the Niners are starting to
get
more accustomed to what guys are out, what guys are in, what's happening in terms of injuries, and how that chemistry meshes with the new players. Yep. The Niners are showing that Joey Bosa may be out, but that defense is still really good.
Talented.
Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy with George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. Those are a talented group of individuals.
And like I had said, if you remember, I said if there's any chance of the Patriots, they have to stop Deebo Samuel. And he torched them.
So Deebo Samuel, I want to go off on a tangent a little bit about him. When I watch him run, he runs like a power back. He runs people over.
And he's damn quick too. He's speedy.
He runs people over.
Yeah, he runs angry.
He does not run and just like, oh, I'm gonna go out of bounds. Oh, I'm gonna go down. Oh, because you see some guys, they run and they he puts his shoulder down.
The thing about
he
it
says,
is,
hit
though,
me, please.
I would rather have him go out of bounds though. When you're that talented and you're not that big,
but
you keep knocking on the door. Sooner or later, somebody's gonna answer, and it might not be who you want to see.
And maybe he's not doing it to linebackers, but
right.
Corners already on their own, not very good at tackling.
No.
So when you can put a corner in his place, already he's not very good at tackling. He's got to think twice about trying to tackle you.
Sure.
So I like his play style.
I do too. I think it's good. I just want him to stay healthy.
Oh, sure.
Right. That's my biggest concern. I have no problem running people. I love it.
Yeah.
Run angry, but just run smart.
Sure.
Right. Because
smart.
the best ability is availability. Always.
Very good.
Always.
Absolutely.
And then I'll say one thing about the Patriots. Call your mom. Call your dad.
Oh, no.
Call your sister.
Oh, no, he's not
brother.
doing it.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that yet.
Oh.
And sound the alarms.
Sure.
Because the Patriots are in trouble. And I'm a Patriots fan. Y'all don't understand. I'm really am a Patriots fan. Regardless of who's there, I'll always be a Patriots fan. But sound the alarms. The Patriots are in big trouble.
Defense looked bad. Offense looked bad.
That offense is sick. It actually made me upset to my stomach to watch that offense try to function. Yeah. It hurt my stomach.
Cam better watch out. He's going to lose his job real quick.
Yeah. And he hasn't looked the same ever since COVID. Ever since COVID, he has not looked the same.
And that could be a factor.
It could be.
Seahawks, Cardinals. I think the big story of this game is Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray are 2 extremely talented quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And both defenses need some serious help.
Yeah.
But the Seahawks defense needs more help.
Yep, and I'll say this. Surprisingly, Kyler Murray actually won the quarterback battle head-to-head.
Sure.
Russell Wilson had 3 bad interceptions.
Sure.
One of them wasn't his fault, but that one where he overthrew Metcalf in the left corner of the end zone there, and then Patrick Peterson just kind of tiptoed in and he just intercepted him. That hurts. You're about to score. You're about to drive down the field and score a touchdown. You can't do that.
And the biggest, and even the one where DK Metcalf, unhuman. He's chased down Buda Baker. The Cardinals didn't score on that.
That was nuts.
But the problem with it is not that there was no point swing, I guess, but you could still think of it as a point swing because you're right there knocking on the door.
Yes.
And I think that's where Russell Wilson needs to improve himself, is when he's inside that 10-yard area.
A little bit lax with
he
football
seems to struggle a little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like he almost feels constricted because he doesn't have that room, a big field.
Right.
I think he would rather be 1st and 40 on the 40-yard line than 1st and 10 on the 10. You know what I mean? Because he has more space. He has more room to work with.
He's an artist back there.
Right,
and
exactly.
He likes to paint art. You can't paint art when you're constricted to a box.
And the difference between him and Kyler right now is that Kyler might not be as good as Russell in terms of the deep ball.
Sure.
But Kyler's still more mobile than Russ. He can make more things happen in that 10-yard area.
And that's the thing, more efficient when it matters.
Sure.
In that, like you had said, that 10-yard box there, he's very efficient.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown it the rest of the so far this season. And we talked about this off camera. I just got to bring it up real quick and we'll move on. The way Russell Wilson throws the football is ridiculous.
Gorgeous.
Ridiculous. And like you had said, part of it's probably because of height, but even when doesn't have anybody in his face, he just has this little arc to the ball.
Right.
It just changes the level at which people track the ball. You know, cornerbacks usually look at eye level to try to find the football. Receivers usually look up.
Right.
So he has the ball in the plane of view of only the wide receiver.
Right.
And he puts it in the place where a defensive back can't defend it unless you go across the body of the receiver. At that point, that's either a PI or a free play.
Right. And
it's a win-win. It's just beautiful to see it.
And for most guys, when you see that up motion, it's not good because then that means the lollipop.
Right.
The defender's going to get under it and pick it. But he still has enough drive on the ball to. But it's just the arc that it takes is different. But it's still got that power behind it.
Exactly.
So it's not hanging in the air for too long. His deep ball's gorgeous. That pass to Tyler Lockett was stunning.
Ridiculous.
I was watching it and it made me feel good.
And you want to know what? I actually like the touchdown pass that threw to Tyler Lockett in the back of the end zone on like the 15.
Okay.
Where he tracked him to the left side and he threw it over that cornerback. Mm-hmm. And he somehow Tyler Lockett toe dragged that. Mm-hmm. That ball was gorgeous. I think that's one of the best balls he's thrown all year.
If the Seahawks defense can get it right, that's a Super Bowl team.
Agreed.
Obviously, they can shoot out with anybody.
It's a big if.
But
it's a big if.
If you say, you put the Seahawks against Tom Brady and the Patriots and the Bucks, the way the Bucks played against the Raiders,
you're not beating them.
I don't think you're beating them, right? The difference gap between their defense and your defense and your offense and their offense, it doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And granted, any given Sunday, so when the real teams show up when it matters. This was kind of a game that mattered. This is a divisional game on Sunday Night Football. Yeah. Defense needs to be better.
Yep, agreed.
Bears, Rams, not much to say here. I mean,
no.
Except that the Bears just...
It was so messed up. The Bears looked like what I thought the Bears should look like the whole year.
Right.
This is the one time I freaking picked them to win a football game, bastards.
When the Bears lose, you're like, yeah, of course.
They look very pedestrian.
But when they win, it's very like, what? The defense plays abnormally well and does weird things. Aaron Donald was sick in this game.
Oh, my. He single-handedly won that football game.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It was...
So good.
It's
so good.
Rams are good. The Bears are kind of fakers. I don't know how else to say it. They're a 5-2 team that's like faking. And I don't want to but the Rams are good. Jared Goff's good. I believe Henderson, their running back. Rams.
Yes.
He's good.
Yep.
They have good receivers. And the Bears just couldn't stop it. Darrell Henderson.
I think you cut this game up to the Bears are who we thought they were the whole time. I think they really finally showed the true colors. And I also think this is what the Rams are. I think both teams were just playing inept compared to what they should normally play, and they finally kind of stepped into their actual shine.
And when we talked about this game during our predictions video, we mentioned that this game is full of teams that we're just not sure about.
Yeah, who are you?
And now we kind of see Rams are good, Bears maybe not so much. We'll see next week. I gotta keep Bears is always a wait and see until their record goes under 500. But the Rams, I feel like you're just gonna see them go up.
Agreed. And one quick thing real quick, because we're done with all those now. Early MVP pick. Who are you taking? Who are you taking so far?
If I had to pick today, I'm probably picking Russell Wilson. Just uber talented. Everything he does is just magnificent. Again, the loss last night, 2 nights ago, was not on him. He's obviously carrying that football team. I mean, he has 2 good receivers and a good running back as well. But I just think he's on a tier above the rest at this point in terms of how he's playing this football season.
So it's tough. So for me, I don't have one particular person I can say right now, but I have 2 or 3 people that are really kind of sticking them out my mind. Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was up there for me as well.
One of those three.
He was the other guy I was thinking.
One of those three. And based off of what happened this past week, I would actually give the edge to Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Only because Russell Wilson, he's going to have outrageous numbers.
Yep.
And he can't throw interceptions. Because he's done this in the past where he's had really good touchdowns, but he's also had INTs.
Sure.
And because that's just how he plays the game of football,
right,
he gets overlooked.
Sure.
So that's why I'm saying, and it sucks because he shouldn't have to do outrageous things to get recognized.
Yep.
But unfortunately, how good he's been and how good he is, that's what he's going to have to do.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the story of his career, I guess, you know? Drafted in the 4th round, undersized, defense got the credit for his first Super Bowl.
Yep.
Like, Russell Wilson constantly being that guy who's overlooked. I think if you end the season today,
he gets it.
I think he gets it. But that's just me.
Agreed. Okay. All right, y'all. So that was it for the Week 7 recap. As you can probably tell, we're getting better at this. We're starting to really get our groove now, and we're starting to flow. But we will see you guys again on Thursday, where we're going to go over how our Week 7 picks went, who won that week, as well as go over our Week 8 picks.
Yep.
That'll be nice, short, and sweet. But until next time, we'll see y'all. Later.